This is an overview of how to do camera-specific initialization with a Lua script. So we have a camera with a board that Sightline built, and on that board is a GPIO, and that GPIO needs to be set high in order to get the camera running. And this can't be done in a shell script or something that's being run at startup, because the GPIOs have multiple functions at boot, including board ID, and so it has to actually be run at a specific time when the camera's ready to start running. And the only way to do that is with a Lua script. And it's a little bit confusing process, but if you understand what's going on, it's really not that complicated. So over here in the acquisition settings, down here in the options box, I have a name in there, and that's the camera name, and it's called Snake 640. And that'll become important later. If I had regular camera options, I would do a space and then put those later, and the normal operations have a name equals value. And so if the first thing is just a camera name with or without a space, our system will recognize that as a corresponding Lua script. And what it will do is, at the proper time for a camera to be initialized, it will make a call into a function in that Lua script with a specific name that's related to this. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Over here in external programs, I have to load my Camera Control Snake 640 Lua script. This name doesn't exactly matter, but it's nice to keep it consistent, and hit send, and then save to board. And that basically lets our video track application know that this Lua script is valid, and that should be in the list of things where it looks for a camera initialization call to be made. And so let's go ahead and look at that script. Here's Camera Control Snake. And I copied this from a Boson version. And a couple interesting things. The GPIO that we need to set in order to enable the camera is specific on whether you're a 3000, a 4000, which video input port on one of those you're using. And so the first thing is get system type will return whether there's a 3000 or a 4000. Down here is the real work of this function is, set GPIO. And that's going to be GPIO, and it gets called with a number, and that number will be dependent on 3000, 4000, and video port. So down here is my camera specific initialization name. So it must be slcam _ snake 640 init, and snake 640 is the text I put in my acquisition parameters. And the first thing it does is gets the system type and the system parameters, and it needs those to get the input port number. So if I'm a 3000 and I'm on camera index 0, then my GPIO corresponding is 15. If I'm on camera 2, it's 19. If I'm on 4000, camera index 0 is the J6 port, that's 457. Camera index 1 is 441. That's the MIPI port. And then all we do is we call init camera. And in this case, all init camera does is does the GPIO init. And that's it. There's one other point is that down in when the Lua script first loads, we call this SL load and SL unload when it's done. And it's too early to really do anything in the load of this. So you can't really just put the GPIO set in here. You have to go through this process of making the properly named function and then entering it and persisting it in the options in the acquisition settings.